Today we will be talking about the feasibility of making AI more economical. Since 2022, there have been an increase in AI models such as ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Meta's Llama that we have today. However, it could be argued that these new AI have gotten too resource intensive in both their cost to develop and in the power consumption that they require. So there needs to be a way for it to cost less to develop and for it to use less power. The options we suggest is to 1. Downscale AI so it doesn't use as many resources. 2. To build on open source AI. 3. To develop AI in less traditional ways. Or 4. To simply do nothing about it and leave the industry as it is. First, we will look at the hardware costs of AI, which vary depending on how you choose to access AI. The first method is the most convenient, which is accessing it through the web or through a cloud. The cloud is hosted through data centers, which is home to hundreds of thousands of GPUs. The industry standard GPU to utilize for AI is the NVIDIA A100 GPU, priced at $7,000 to $8,000. While it is undisclosed how much ChatGPT requires to operate, it is estimated to be at around 29,000 A100 GPUs at minimum to host through a data center. Other AIs hosted through these clouds may have similar GPU consumption, although they are also not disclosed. The second option of accessing AI is to simply self-host, which is given through DeepSeek and Meta DeepSeek R1, the most complete model of DeepSeek, requires at least 16 A100 GPUs to run. Llama's 3.1405B model, its most demanding, requires 4 to 8 A100 GPUs to run. These requirements can serve as a baseline for hardware requirements of both these AI. Since ChatGPT does not allow the option to self-host, we can only use the estimated amount of GPUs it requires in their data centers. Most likely because ChatGPT does not optimize their AI for self-hosting.
So I just wanted to talk about the cost to develop artificial intelligence. And some of the approaches that other companies took was that OpenAI spent $100 million on ChatGPT 4, and this was for their computing resources, training the model, and developing it. And on the other hand, Meta spent $20 million while developing Llama, and this was also for the computing resources and training the model. So as you can see, it's very costly to develop artificial intelligence, but I just want to look at some ways we can lower this cost. So one way is through neural networks. Companies have been using a single neural network to train their artificial intelligence, but instead, if you have like specialty neural networks that are smaller and that just focus on one topic, such as physics or biology, and then a general neural network that links all of these specialty neural networks together, it allows for a more cost-effective model as well as a model that's less resource intensive. And we can see this done by DeepSeek because they spent only $6 million to develop their artificial intelligence model by using this method. Also, there's a lot of math that goes behind artificial intelligence. Specifically, there's a lot of multiplication because it's used to find the patterns within text. But if you use 8 bits of memory for multiplication and then store the answer in 32 bits of memory rather than the regular way, which is just using 16 bits of memory for multiplying and storing the answer. This allows for the same level of accuracy while using less resources and being more cost effective.
Hi, my name is Adeshwa Benson, and for my team's feasibility report, the topic we chose was the feasibility of making AI more economical. And I focused on the feasibility that users will be able to, or users will switch to a lower cost AI tool like DeepSeek or Meta's Llama. And I started by creating a survey to get data from everyday AI users, and the results were very insightful because 63% of the population said they would switch to cheaper tools like DeepSeek or Meta's Llama, but they required that AI tool has to be ChatGPT level quality, and 72% said the tools also have to be easy to use and understand. So this tells us that price alone will not make people switch to cheaper alternatives. Users prioritize three things. They prioritize the quality, where 54% of people will not accept or use a bad quality AI tool. Simplicity, if it is clunky, if it is confusing, if it's difficult to understand, then they won't use that AI tool. And trust, especially in the AI tool and the company that provides it, basically in regards to data privacy. So, how can the cheaper AI tools compete? Well, there's currently two problems. Number one is most people have never heard of the alternatives or the cheaper AI tools, and for those who have heard about it, they haven't used it before. And the other problem is 66% of the population said they would not use or they rejected any tool that had a poor quality, even though it was cheaper to use. So I feel like for companies or what would increase the feasibility that people would switch to a lower cost AI companies have to try and offer like free trials, so that the users can experience the quality of that AI tool firsthand. I also think that they should try and clone or replicate ChatGPT's UX, because familiarity speeds up adoption. And lastly, I feel like they should also be transparent. Any trust issues that were there beforehand, the companies need to address that. So to conclude, I feel price is a very important factor that determines if users will switch to a lower cost AI or not. But overall, quality and ease of use are the real determining factors.
In order for us to compare whether ChatGPT or DeepSeek is a superior model, whether it's for a business or for if it's for individual use. There are several things that we have to consider. We chose three of them. We looked at the accuracy and coherence in their responses, and also their ability to adapt to more complex tasks and questions. In addition to these, it's important to keep in mind the budget and the complexity of the project, because that's going to be very different, whether it's for personal use or it's for business use. For strengths and weaknesses, ChatGPT, the strength is that it has extensive training. It also has a very large database of information. It's highly accurate and coherent in its responses, and it can adapt to complicated tasks very easily. The weakness is that it costs money and it uses more energy. Now for DeepSeek, the strength is that it's free to use and it uses less energy, but for its weaknesses is that it struggles with complicated tasks, and it has a hard time understanding context, and it will confidently provide the wrong response without realizing that it's not accurate. Additional considerations of privacy and censorship issues. So for DeepSeek, it's an AI model based in China, and because of that, there is going to be some censorship, and the Chinese government will have access to the data as well as the user input. And also, whenever it's asked a question, it will respond in a way that the Chinese government would kind of want it to respond. For ChatGPT, that's less of a case. It's more neutral and it's better at protecting user privacy. Mainly, it will censor content related to illegal activities or acts of violence.
Now we'll be talking about the power consumption of AI models. So AI models can be both very power hungry to train and use. This heavily impacts the cost and sustainability of them. Energy efficiency does not affect only in the environment, but it also affects the cost and long-term scalability of these models. So we'll be evaluating and comparing three models, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Metaslama, to determine which is the most power efficient. So ChatGPT's power consumption, most estimates have it being around 500,000 kilowatt hours a day, or between 182 to 226 gigawatt hours a year. Each query is about 2.9 watt hours, or 10 times a Google search, and it's also the most power-hungry model in this analysis. DeepSeek and Llama's power consumption. So DeepSeek uses a mixture of experts model for efficiency, Not all parameters need to be activated to answer a query, making it theoretically the most efficient, but however, in practice, in one test, it consumed 41% more energy than Llama, but overall, it is about the same efficiency as Llama. So in Llama, in the case of Llama, it requires way less power to train than ChatGPT. The Llama model used 500,000 kilowatt hours to train, while GPT-3 used 1.2 million kilowatt hours to train. When it comes to each query, though, there's little to no information on the energy consumption for Llama, but it's very likely that Llama is more efficient than ChatGPT. And to conclude this presentation, based on the information we discussed, we believe that option 4, developing AI in less traditional ways, is the best option. Specifically, we think the way DeepSeek developed their model would be the most cost-effective while still achieving good results. Thank you.